Molly, you're just taking your daughter and her friends to go see a movie that they want to see, but that Molly doesn't. Seems reasonable to me. That was r/Am I the Butthole, and if you like this content, check out my...
Valkyries, Jumpmaster Actual. Follow my heading.
On March 11, 2020, Moon Studios released Ori and the Will of the Wisps on Windows and Xbox One. Will of the Wisps is the follow-up to Ori and the Blind Forest, which released 5 years earlier on March 11, 2015. And while Ori and the Blind Forest is a great game in its own right, Moon Studios pushed the Ori formula to its limit in Will of the Wisps. Moon Studios grew from a team of about 15 employees in 2015 to over 80 as they worked on the second Ori game. Since their inception in 2010, Moon Studios has allowed the majority of its employees to work remotely from their homes across what is now 43 different countries. This flexibility lets them hire talent from all over the world. Artists and animators from companies like Pixar, Disney, and Blizzard joined in to help craft Ori's world and characters. Chris McEntee, who worked on the platformer Rayman Legends, was scooped up to work on Ori. Moon Studios even hired Milton Goss, the developer behind AM2R, a popular Metroid 2 fan game. Well, popular with most people. This larger crew helped make Ori and the Will of the Wisps even bigger and better than its predecessor, with more characters, more features, monkeys, refined controls, and more levels, as well as an entirely new combat system. Ori can now beat the ever-loving crap out of enemies with a large arsenal of weapons, and the game supports huge, intricate boss battles for the player to test their skills against. In the end, all of this work paid off. Reviewers heaped praise all over Will of the Wisps, and outlets everywhere discussed how Moon Studios had crafted a masterpiece. And that praise is well deserved. If you take nothing else from Moon Studios, let it be that Ori and the Will of the Wisps is one of the most polished, impressive Metroidvanias ever made. But there was another thing people were saying about Will of the Wisps, and it started well before the game even released. After the Ori and the Will of the Wisps gameplay trailer was revealed at E3 2018, one of the lead game directors at Moon Studios, Thomas Muller, gave an interview with the Daily Star, explaining that they were looking to make the perfect Metroidvania. This involved studying and researching the games that came out since Ori and the Blind Forest. Muller mentioned by name two of these Metroidvanias specifically, Axiom Verge and Hollow Knight. This interview was shared on Reset Era, an internet forum dedicated to discussing video games. The thread contained a variety of opinions surrounding the strengths and weaknesses of both Ori and the Blind Forest and Hollow Knight. Mahler, a regular on internet forums such as Reset Era and NeoGAF, posted in the thread as well, responding to comments and questions about the upcoming game. One user going by the name Jeffrey Guang expressed concern about Ori and the Will of the Wisps copying too much from Hollow Knight. I hope Moon Studios doesn't lose sight on what makes the first game that extra special by focusing too much on replayability. Please don't be a Hollow Knight clone, which will be disappointingly hollow. Thomas Mahler responded to this post as well, assuring Jeffrey that their concerns were nothing to worry about. And don't worry about us copying others too much. We always look at what happens outside our community, but I don't think people will make many connections to Hollow Knight in the light. And well, then the game finished.
Experience the new look and feel of the Ori series second outing, where they guess we can do that. In fact, Ori and the Will of the Wisps takes plenty of cues from the other major games of the past 2 years. That's right, I'm talking about Hollow Knight.
The first game had one of its controls of having to manually plonk down your save points, which was slightly wobbly in execution, so naturally it's been kicked to the curb in favour of making a game that's more like Hollow Knight.
If you haven't played these games, to be a little bit reductive for a second, this might piss people off, but like the base of it does feel a little bit like Hollow Knight.
Let's start by going over all the Hollow Knight ideas they borrowed, which, hey, I applaud Moon Studios for doing. I mean, that's a good model to borrow ideas from.
If I failed, I knew it was because of my own mistakes. That reminds me of another game.
I mentioned that Will of the Wisps not only features swordplay, but a shard system similar to Hollow Knight's charms.
Will of the Wisps introduces a system that hews out much more closely to the charms in Hollow Knight.
So it's got a similar badge system.
I think people haven't made this comparison. bit similar,
Very
but
simple.
But speaking of exploration, there's a map maker that helps you chart each new area in case you're looking for another bit of Hollow Knight influence.
And there's an NPC hidden around the world that sells you maps.
It's even got the one map maker dude you keep running into in the world who sells you a map for the current area.
But that's not the only Hollow Knight influence. One of the skills is basically the exact same healing skill.
And Moon Studios must have looked at Hollow Knight's freakishly creepy beat map. Can we top that? Well, they didn't, but they tried.
Because Hollow Knight was popular and did well and has therefore gained the favour of the giant money machine, all praise its benevolent wisdom.
So it's pretty clear the team enjoyed Hollow Knight. Not a bad thing, it's a great game.
The comparisons to Hollow Knight came immediately, with several users on Reset Era mentioning that they could see the clear inspirations from Hollow Knight. One user going by the name Mindsail even created a thread titled, "Is Ori and the Will of the Wisps fascist or plagiarist?" Thomas Muller jumped into the thread, clarifying that Hollow Knight wasn't really an inspiration for Will of the Wisps, instead citing games like Final Fantasy VII, Dark Souls, and The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. The reaction to Muller's posts were mixed, with a number of users actually disagreeing with him and calling him a liar and a salty man-baby. In a surprising turn of events for an online gaming forum, the entire thread turned into a complete dumpster fire. Things became so heated that the thread was locked by a moderator just over 3 hours after it was created. A few months later, the other lead developer at Moon Studios, Gennady Coral, addressed the similarities during a Reddit AMA. Coral explained that while they expected some Hollow Knight comparisons, a lot of the systems in Will of the Wisps that people compare to Hollow Knight already existed in early prototypes dating back to 2015. So what exactly is going on here? Muller has said in a number of interviews that they studied Hollow Knight, and that the game inspired them. The comparisons have been pointed out numerous times by fans and reviewers all over the internet. But at the same time, both co-founders of Moon Studios say that Hollow Knight wasn't the inspiration for much of anything in Will of the Wisps. What's the cause of this discrepancy? How similar is Ori and the Will of the Wisps to Hollow Knight? Before we dive into the comparisons surrounding Will of the Wisps, there's a whole other issue that needs to be discussed. It seems when the discussion of inspiration and borrowing ideas in gaming comes up, a lot of people immediately jump to words like rip-off and clone, and discussions immediately become hostile. So let's take a bit of time to talk about what inspiration and imitation between games actually looks like. The question of what constitutes a rip-off is hard to answer. That Reset Era thread I mentioned earlier is a good testament to that, and it's a question that has been brought up many times before. In fact, the issue of rip-offs in the games industry has been discussed by some of the greatest minds of this generation.
Alright, I gotta set the record straight. Something is really pissing me off. Alright, if we're gonna call stuff a rip-off, let's call it what it is. Rip it off, create it Minecraft.
This is Keemstar. Most well known for his entertainment and social news YouTube channel, Drama Alert, Keemstar is a very polarizing online celebrity. But before Keemstar became the big YouTube star he is today, his first big break came from handling the PR and marketing for the 2011 Xbox Live Arcade game, Fortress Craft. If you were to take a quick glance at Fortress Craft, you might think it's just a ripoff of another game that was popular around the same time, Minecraft. But let's take a closer look, and use this game as a case study for what makes people perceive a game as a ripoff. So let's hear the pitch for Fortress Craft. Here's Keemstar explaining the game in an interview with Mild Gaming.
Alright, so just tell us exactly what is Fortress Craft.
Fortress Craft is a genre that was developed a long time ago. It was actually a genre that doesn't have a name. The game was the inspiration for Minecraft, which has been very, very successful on the PC. In the same genre, block building, if you want to call it that, we've developed a game which is very similar but very unique and different at the same time.
Keemstar's first point here is that Minecraft didn't create the block building genre, but itself took ideas from another game. This is absolutely true. Minecraft's creator, Marcus Persson, or Not, was heavily inspired by another game called Infinity when creating Minecraft. Keemstar's point was echoed by the lead developer of Fortress Craft, Adam Sawkins. According to Sawkins in an Ars Technica article, the similarities found between Fortress Craft and Minecraft are simply part of the voxel sandbox genre both games belong to. Sawkins, who had previously worked on games from the Formula 1 and Burnout series, compared this to the racing game genre, saying, "All racing games have cars, tracks, tarmac, trees, Armco, AI, overtaking, braking, chicanes, and chevrons. Remove any of those things and it's no longer a racing game, apart from maybe trees. If I were to remove voxel rendering, infinitely mutable worlds, Perlin generation, or, as one YouTube comment accused me of stealing from Minecraft, grass, then I no longer have a Minecraft clone. I also no longer have a game." Notch didn't see it that way. In that same Ars Technica article, he shared his thoughts on games like Fortresscraft and Terraria. Both Fortresscraft and Terraria appear to be inspired by Minecraft, which in turn was inspired by many other games including Infiniminer, Dwarf Fortress, and Dungeon Keeper. However, I do not believe you can achieve something great or interesting by merely attempting to emulate something else. It becomes especially embarrassing if you publicly deny any inspiration when it's painfully clear how much of a copy it is. Fortresscraft is an obvious attempt just to take something popular and clone it as closely as possible. I still think it's important that people are allowed and able to do things like that, but it's hardly graceful. Accusations like this haunted Keemstar and Sawkins throughout Fortresscraft's relevance. Keemstar tried his best to dispel these criticisms.
Don't fucking talk shit about me and my fucking game, or I'm gonna fucking talk shit about your whole goddamn crew.
But public relations wasn't really Keemstar's forte back then. Sawkins directly responded to Notch's comment with an open letter detailing how Fortresscraft had unique features that separated it from Minecraft, such as more detailed graphics with shaders and reflections, ray guns, trampolines. Sawkins also said, "Fortresscraft is basically Minecraft, in the same way that Minecraft is basically Infiniminer. It's just that Minecraft has been out a hell of a lot longer, and I have an enormous list of plans and ideas I want to put into Fortresscraft as time goes on." It's undeniable that both Minecraft and Fortresscraft started out as clones. If you look at the video description for the very first video of Fortresscraft uploaded to YouTube, Sawkins wrote in the description, "Minecraft clone, running on the Xbox." If you look at the first Minecraft video Notch ever posted, the description reads, "This is a very early test of an Infiniminer clone I'm working on." So what is the actual difference here? Why does Minecraft get away with cloning Infiniminer, while Fortresscraft gets flogged and crucified? Well, for one, Minecraft expanded new gameplay mechanics not found in Infiniminer. Infiniminer was an abandoned, team-based competitive mining game. Notch took those elements and added survival and RPG mechanics to transcend beyond Infiniminer and create something new. Fortresscraft was pretty much just Minecraft's creative mode, with a few game modes like Tag thrown in as well. But if you seriously look at these games, it's hard to believe that Fortresscraft innovated on Minecraft anywhere near as much as Minecraft innovated on Infiniminer. Sawkins' defense to this point was that Fortresscraft hasn't been around as long as Minecraft, so many of the unique ideas Sawkins had planned for the game hadn't been added yet, stating that Fortresscraft was just the first chapter.
Fortresscraft is a novel with chapters unwritten.
But this point leads into the bigger reason why I think so many people call Fortresscraft a ripoff. For whatever new ideas and mechanics it might have added to the box and survival sandbox genre, it was clearly overshadowed by the perception that Fortresscraft was rushed and unpolished, banking its success entirely on its similarity to Minecraft. It seems like Fortresscraft's actual main selling point was that it would be just like Minecraft, except unlike Minecraft, it was on Xbox Live Arcade. You have to remember, this was 2011, which was like a million years ago. Minecraft wasn't running on every device known to man yet. There were a lot of young kids out there who couldn't play Minecraft, and there were a lot of YouTubers like Keemstar who had built their entire fan bases around this identity of playing Xbox Live and being a hardcore console gamer. So Fortresscraft was a perfect game for people like Keemstar to market to their primarily console gamer audience. Just watch the official Fortresscraft launch trailer and you'll see what I mean.
This ain't about me. This is about the console gamer. This is about Xbox.
I am not a PC gamer. I have not been a PC gamer and never will be. I am a console gamer. That is reality. That's the way it is.
So when I look at it, I find that exactly myself. I come out checking every day. I stayed up till 12.
It's also clear that they knew people were going to call it a ripoff. so they tried to deflect as much as possible. Even the game's trailer brings up how this game technically isn't ripping off Minecraft.
Getting kind of worked up over Fortress Craft being like Minecraft. I haven't looked into it or anything, but I think Minecraft is another game itself.
In the end, Fortress Craft performed incredibly well, selling over 2 million copies. It was clear that the game did well financially, but as time has passed, GameStar has spoken a bit more candidly about its real thoughts on Fortress Craft in terms of its design and quality, saying in 2020,
so that was my first like big break. Not a good game, shitty game, but people.
Yeah, really a Minecraft phone, but it was the only one available on Xbox, so of course nothing to do about it.
Brilliant move.
As for Sawkins, he actually continued development on Fortress Craft, creating a sequel called Fortress Craft Evolved, which blended the standard Minecraft-type gameplay with Factorio, mixing in logistics and tower defense mechanics to make something more unique. So it seems like Sawkins was honest when he said he had a lot of ideas to make Fortress Craft different from Minecraft. As for Fortress Craft Chapter 1, I don't think people will ever view it as all that innovative or unique, and it will go down in history as one of the many game clones created to cash in on what was popular at the time. Sawkins actually re-released the original Fortress Craft on Steam to celebrate the game's 10th anniversary, so you can check it out if you want, if you have a PC that is. So what can you take away from that little example? First, games take ideas from other games all the time. It's perfectly natural, and it's even responsible for the creation of one of the greatest video games ever made. Second, video games that exist within the same genre are bound to have similarities. Racing games like cars. First-person shooters are all in first person. Roguelikes are all fucking bullshit. But a game needs to do at least something unique and different from other entries in that genre, otherwise it might be called a ripoff. Finally, the single biggest part of what makes a game seem like a ripoff